This is awkward occurrence or awkward entertainment. So I'm gonna give it a second for a few people to come in before I start this show. Give it a second. And that is enough of a second. So in this video, I'm gonna go through past and present press releases of the Cleo Smith case. In particular, Halloween and today, November 1st press releases. So I'm going to play this video and I'm going to commentate throughout.
The rocky coast is popular with fishermen, but great care must be taken, and some people have died after being swept off the rocks by rogue waves.
So this video is going to give you an idea of what the area in Western Australia looks like. What the Blowhole Campsite looks like.
There is a marine sanctuary tucked in behind the island, just south of Point Quabba. No fishing is allowed here, and it's a great spot for snorkeling, as there's an abundance of fish and some coral.
Now, police, I guess, speculate that may be one of the roads the kidnapper took the morning Cleo went missing.
The area behind the island is generally safe for swimming, but further south in deeper water, large sharks frequently come close to shore. Whales are frequently seen along this coast during the migration season.
Now, I stated in previous video, it's possible Cleo Smith woke up a little after her parents went to sleep and went into those waters. So I'm looking at these waters and I'm thinking, well, how far could her body drift off if she did go into these waters? Could the current of the water have pushed her body farther into the water if she drowned? So that's the camping site. Now, one thing about that morning, Cleo Smith woke up at 1:30 a.m., asked for water. By 3 a.m., police speculate she went missing. So an hour and a half after she woke up, she's missing. Her parents were up at 1:30 a.m. So when did the parents go to bed? When did the parents go to bed and this kidnapper just mysteriously came in? It made it possible for this kidnapper to mysteriously come in. So Cleo got up at 1:30 a.m., got some water. Maybe she went back to sleep at 1:45. The parents are still up. Parents go to bed, knock out probably 2:15, maybe 2:15. So it's 2:15. Everybody's knocked out. What, 2:45? The kidnapper is inside the tent, making his way to Cleo. She's in front of the tent. He makes his way out back to the car park and screeches off. But only an hour and a half after she woke up, she's missing. Right. The parents didn't stay up that much longer. Right. Let's continue.
The campsite has few facilities, and the toilets on site are supposed to be.
These are the shacks mentioned in the case. Gives you an idea where Cleo went during the day before she went missing.
An older lighthouse at Point Floats. The original light came from Cape Wickham in Tasmania. That has now been removed and is kept at the West Australian Museum. The lighthouse is 12.5 metres high and stands 64 metres above sea level. The signature of this lighthouse is 4 white flashes every 20 seconds. The top of the lighthouse was recently removed temporarily in 2019 so that some maintenance could...
Alright, let's get into this. So the theory I have, Miss Cleo Smith went into the waters. I don't know if that's very accurate. I still believe that theory. I'm still sticking by it because the current of the water could have moved her body further outland into the sea. Could have moved her body around that coast to other spots in the blowhole. I'm still sticking to it. Well, let's get into this. Search for Cleo Smith continues. Detectives have visited homes in the area, so they have went door to door knocking. I don't know why they're knocking on a number of homes in North Plantation. I guess they expect if they knock on the right door, Cleo will run to the door, or they will hear something suspicious. Or maybe they're looking for more people who was at that campsite the day Cleo went missing, and they're trying to get answers door to door. That's the only thing I could think of. This state's police are using a drone to map the area Cleo went missing. Which, I don't understand why you don't have a helicopter out there just looking over the entire area from the ground above. Just look over the entire area and take pictures. They should have already had this information, is what I'm saying. Instead of using a drone now, this area should have been mapped out years ago, and has been mapped out years ago, because it's a campground and it's a tourist area. But let's continue. Alright, this gives you more of an idea of how the campsite looks from above. And when you look at the waters, it's very possible Cleo got up from her tent, walked to those waters, and she's out there floating, waiting to wash up on shore. It's very possible. In the video at the beginning, the guy speaking says it's common for sharks to come along that shore. And we know sharks like to eat people. But if Cleo went walking at 3 in the morning, she went into this water, they didn't know that she was missing until 6. That's 3 hours of her being in that water. If there were currents, if the currents were strong enough, she could have floated in any which direction. You never know with these national stories on TV how things will turn out. I remember someone came to my last video and told me, well, there's no way Cleo Smith could have went to the water because there are ridges. There's a bunch of ridges and tall type structures. Well, no, she wasn't camping on those ridges. She wasn't camping on the blowhole. She was camping on the sand. They were camping near the beach. Another idea of the roads. This is just one of the officials in Australia telling people don't speculate about the parents being involved. He states, I just urge them to stop. This social media world we're living in is just embodied people to say any shocking or horrible thing that is awful. I urge people to go back to a sense of decency and civility towards one another, particularly towards people who are suffering. Police have repeatedly said Cleo's mother, Ellie Smith, and stepfather, Jake Glidden, and biological father Daniel Staines are not suspects in the case. I did not know the biological father was in this story, so his name is Daniel. When asked about, usually, if you get an Amber Alert for a missing child, it's a parent that took the missing child, a disgruntled parent took the missing child, usually. But in this case, it's not a disgruntled parent. So they also ruled out the biological dead for right now. When asked about the online trolls on Friday, investigator Rod Wild said it was terrible. So it's another piece. One commenter said the couple should be subject to a polygraph test to clear their names, which I agree. They should take a polygraph test. You only cleared them because they called you guys. Maybe they helped look around the beach. They let you in the house. They gave you their phones. That's the only reason they were cleared. Maybe they should take a polygraph test. Another person accused the couple of not looking sad, which is true. They were bad actors. Yes, other commenters said the parents have intentionally harmed Cleo. Other disgrace. The reason I put this in the slide is to say it's your free speech. If you want to say, I think the parents are involved, if you want to state why the parents are involved, that's your free speech. On and off the internet, that's your free speech. Before we had the internet, we used to sit around the living room and we would gossip about things we saw on TV. That includes when people went missing, includes when O.J. Simpson was arrested for killing his wife, the Mendez brothers, any historical cases you can think of in your country or in America. People will always sit around and gossip about it before the internet came. So with the internet, we just have an outlet to talk to other people and gossip about the cases. It's nothing different from the 1980s, 70s, 60s. Let's continue. People in the 60s were talking not bad. People in the 60s were making speculation about whatever case. When did Marilyn Monroe die? People made speculation about Marilyn Monroe. Let's just continue. So, your free speech. I don't suggest you go to the parents' Facebook page and leave mean notes. I don't suggest that. And leave mean notes. There's more pictures of how the campsite looked and how it's possible for Cleo Smith to get up and walk over to the beach and get into those waters and maybe be swept away by those tides. I see some tides coming into the beach, so it's possible them tides swept her further into the water. But police are sticking to their child predatory theory. They're sticking to she was abducted. This story is still heading towards the speculation, the theory by police, she was abducted. Let's continue. More scenery, more photos of what it looked like. This is just giving you more ideas. If you've never been to Australia, that part, or if you've never looked up the country of Australia, this is just giving you an idea of how everything looks. And police say it's possible Cleo Smith was driven into the States. She could be in the Northern Territory. She could be in South Australia. They narrowed down the location where they think she is. I'll get into that in a second. Point Cabo. More views, more visual arts of how this place looks. One article states, it's not unusual for kids to wander off at this campsite and go to the blowholes, to look at the blowholes. And also, people have gotten hurt at those blowholes. Gotten hurt. I forget the exact words of the article, but let's continue. Possible roads the suspect could have taken. A possible road, Beach Road. Miss Lisa Anderson. Yes, Cleo Smith is 4 years old. She was missing from Western Australia. Her family went camping at the Blowhole Campsite. 3:30, 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning, not police, people heard a car screeching away from the campsite. I forget what exact date she went missing. It was in October. Right now, police think it's a child predator that took her. They have ruled out the parents. They searched the parents' house. They have ruled out a stalker coming to the house. They have ruled out sex offenders in the area. They followed up with 20 sex offenders in the area, ruled them out, ruled out a stalker. They have ruled out the parents for whatever reason. It's been 16 days. Cleo is still missing. And I'm just going over news articles from Halloween and today. More visual arts. These are the blowholes. I don't believe Cleo wandered off that far to the blowholes, but if you have kids and you ever visit Australia and you go to these blowholes, I would say just be careful. It will blow you into the water. Just saying. Let me continue. More visual arts. Now, one guy with a YouTube channel, he thought I said the family were camping on those ridges. Like, no, they weren't camping on that tall hill. They were camping by the beach. So it's completely possible she went into the water. Even if they were camping on those ridges, on those hills, she can still get up, walk to the edge, fall off. Yeah. So this is the area the family was camping at. That's circled in yellow. At least this is what the news is saying. This is a replica of the tent, not the tent, of her night clothes and a replica of her sleeping bag police posted on their website. That's the tent. Again, man, that tent is so small. Like, oh my gosh, how do you not suspect the parents when this tent is small as it is? This guy goes in this tent. This is the tent they say that's going around that the parents were using. Someone unzipped it from the outside. I guess it was already unzipped somewhat. They went in. They don't even have to step in that far. They went in, picked her up out of her sleeping bag. They walked all the way back to the car park. This car park, I haven't seen a picture of this car park at Blowhole. I don't know how far away it is, but I know it's not right next to the tent. So they're creeping through the campsite. They have Cleo in their arms. They put her in the car. They turn the key, and they floor the gas. They just floor the gas pedal and screech away. I had to find a picture of this car park. Police keep talking about that's in the area. Right. That's the tent, man. That's the tent. So small. Tent so small. You should be able to hear somebody fooling around with your zipper. If the zipper is on the outside, or if the zipper was halfway unzipped. So, again, parents are ruled out, even though the parents were the last one seen. Was the last one seen with their daughter. Maybe the parents had something to drink that night, and they went into a deep sleep. Cleo got up at 1:30 a.m. for water. She was missing by 3 a.m. Police speculate. Parents called it in when they woke up at 6, a little before 6. Don't know what time the parents went to sleep. If Cleo was up at 1:30, I guess she went to sleep at 1:45. Cleo. The parents went to sleep maybe 2:15. The kidnapper came at 2:30, unzipped the zipper. He didn't have to go far inside the tent. He could have just reached his body halfway in, picked her up, and walked out. And nobody heard nothing. Nobody saw nothing. All right. No, Miss Cleo's sleeping bag wasn't there. I'm still trying to think if she had a mattress she was sleeping on. I thought I read somewhere Cleo was sleeping on the mattress. And that would maybe give her enough height to unzip the zipper and walk out. And walk out with her sleeping bag too, I guess. Okay, this is a town police is searching now. They're searching this town. There are roads from Blowhole Campsite that has no cameras. Police are saying those roads leads to this town. CCTV mapping reveals big blow to missing Cleo Smith investigation. The big blow is, again, there are streets you can take from Blowhole Campsite that have no cameras. That way, if it is a child predator, he can get away and not be seen. This goes more into talking about that. All right. So if this kidnapper took Cleo, he took some back roads so he wouldn't be seen. He's at this town. He should have been seen by now. These kidnappers should have been seen by now if they went into this town with all these cameras around. Cleo Smith should have been seen on camera by now. And it doesn't take days and days to get into this town. It doesn't take days and days to be caught on camera. Miss Cleo Smith to be caught on camera. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Cleo Smith abductor. Okay, again, police are sticking with the theory she was abducted. They don't want to say, well, maybe the parents had something to do with it. They don't want to say, well, maybe she got up, took her sleeping bag to the waters. They don't want to say that. We're sticking to the abduction theory, says the police. Cleo Smith abductors could have traveled 70 kilometers south to the nearest town without being picked up by CCTV cameras. Again, this is the town. It's been 16 days. Day 2, they're in this town. So if Cleo is with the abductors, she would be in the car. Maybe they pulled up to a restaurant. Maybe they pulled up to a store. 16 days. We still don't have video of Cleo in this town. No video, no nothing. No nothing. So how rock solid is their theory she was abducted? How rock solid? Everyone in that town knows Cleo Smith is missing. I'm pretty sure their local news stations have blasted Cleo Smith 24/7, just like any country. When there's a national news missing person case, national stage case, that they're blasted almost 24/7. People, look through your cameras. Look through your cameras. If you're in Australia, Western Australia, look through your cameras. If you're in this town, look through your cameras. See if you can pick up Miss Cleo Smith and a white male. It's going to be a white male. If this abduction theory is true, it's going to be a white male. I don't suspect a black Australian kidnapping this white girl. I'm not trying to be racist, but it's going to be a white male if this theory comes to be true. This goes on to talk about dash cam video that they don't have, CCTV footage within 1,000 kilometers, which they don't have. They're looking for video recordings between 6 p.m. on Friday, October 15th, and 6 p.m. on Sunday, October 17th. So Cleo Smith went missing Saturday, October 16th, after 2 a.m. After 2 a.m. The car was heard screeching away at 3 a.m. Goes on to say investigators are seeking footage from motel check-ins. If there is a motel check-in, the footage will have to have Cleo Smith in it. Service stations such as gas station, fast food outlet, truck stops, free camping areas, children clothing areas, pharmacies, and camping stores. Children clothing stores. Why would the kidnapper go to children clothing stores? Unless it's someone they know. Unless the abductor is someone Cleo knows. They care for Cleo. They want to buy her clothes. Usually abductors, they'll take their victim back to their house, chain them up, hide them in a room. We know how all that goes. They wouldn't go to a clothing store. They wouldn't go to a pharmacy. In today's world, an abductor wouldn't bring their victim inside of stores. If they have any smarts, they wouldn't bring the victim inside of any stores. I'm on the fourth paragraph. This selected list appears to indicate that police may be narrowing in on a suspect who is believed to have snatched the 4-year-old from the Blowhole Campsite near Carnarvon in the northwest of the state on October 16th. I don't think that list narrows anything down. It's a normal list. Truck stops, free camping areas, fast food outlets, gas stations, pharmacies. Those are places anyone would visit. So how does that narrow the list of suspects down? Or how does that narrow you in on a suspect? Police are specifically interested in children clothing stores, camping stops, among other locations. So we want footage from children clothing stores and camping stops. Why? Like, why? Wouldn't that say is someone she knows? Like, if they're stopping by a children clothing store with Cleo, like, wouldn't that say it's someone she knows? I mean, it's not an abductor who just wants to keep her locked up and feed her trash food and this, that, and the third. Okay. This goes on to talk about the mystery vehicle. 2 people spotted that vehicle at the campsite, but they didn't get a license plate. The timeline is 3 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. They heard the car screeching away. Fourth paragraph, as investigators continue their search, police air wing officers will reportedly spend the next couple of days using drones to create a detailed map of the bushland area where Cleo was last seen. I think that map came out to show there are streets with no cameras, which police already knew that before Cleo went missing. The city already knew, the campsite already knew that there are streets without cameras. Right? I don't understand that. Okay. The bushland areas. Alright. They're mapping out the bushland areas. I'm just thinking, is this drone going to find her body in the coming days? That's just my thought when I read that. Will this drone find her body in the coming days, maybe a few miles away from the campsite or in the water? But let's continue. Police, this is a picture of police searching through trash along the routes the abductor could have taken. So they would be looking for anything Cleo was wearing. So that would be her sleeping bag or her night clothes. Maybe they're looking for if she had any earrings, any jewelry on. They're looking for jewelry. That's all you could be looking for. I mean, there's not much more to look for in those trash bins. So police said on Monday they were leaving no stone unturned, revealing officers had collected more than 50 cubic meters of rubbish from roadside bins as far north as, well, I'm not even going to try to pronounce those cities. You can pronounce them yourself. I'm not going to even try. As far north as possible. The rubbish was packed into 2 trucks and transported to Perth, where 4 forensic officers and 20 recruits spent 2 days sorting through hundreds of bags of garbage to find clues if Cleo Abductor went along those routes. This is just Blowhole Campground website. This is just their website. If you want to check it out. It is a tourist attraction. It's set up as a tourist attraction. The locals don't see it as a tourist attraction. They just see it as a hangout spot. But
The rocky coast.
alright, I'm just gonna recap. Cleo Smith went missing October 16th. In the dead morning. She woke up at 1:30 a.m. She went back to bed, probably fell asleep 1:45 a.m. The parents were still up at 1:45 a.m. The parents went to sleep probably at 2:15 a.m. Two witnesses say they heard a car screeching away at 3 a.m. So police suspect she was taken from that tent before 3 a.m. So if the parents went to sleep at 2:15, this abductor probably had Cleo in his hands at 2:45 a.m. It depends. How long does it take to walk back to the car park? Police keep mentioning there's a car park at the campsite. I don't know how far that walk is. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk. So 2:45 a.m., 2:50, kidnapper has her in his arms. They get in the car, he screeches away. If this car has anything to do with Cleo Smith. I suspected after he arrived, she woke up, unzipped the tent, stood on something, unzipped the tent, and she walked to the waters, wanted to swim. I know she took her sleeping bag. Don't know why she took a sleeping bag. But took the sleeping bag, got into the waters. The tides of the waters swept her away. She drowned. We were waiting for her body to wash up, to appear on camera, to appear on the beaches. That's my theory. Police have mapped out that area with a drone. They say the abductor took a route that doesn't have cameras. So they have less evidence to support their theory there was an abductor. They have no evidence to support their theory there was an abductor. The only evidence they have is Cleo Smith is now missing. That is the only evidence they have that she is missing. She's not with her parents. Only evidence. What else? The police searched trash bins along the road. They went door to door, knocking on homes. Don't know what they were looking for. Maybe they're looking for other people who were at that campsite. Now, one interesting thing. People who were at the campsite that morning, their fingerprints were taken by the police. Their mouths were swabbed for DNA. They say it was voluntarily. But again, they said people could not leave or go about in the campsite if police couldn't take their thumbprint, if police couldn't take their swab. That's what campers are saying. So how's it voluntary if we can't move around a campsite, or if we can't leave a campsite, if we have to give you our fingerprint and our swab? That's a little too intrusive, in my opinion. Well, anything else I want to add to this? No, once again, police have no evidence. Cleo Smith was abducted by someone, a child predator. Police have no evidence. Cleo Smith was abducted by a child predator. No video. No, nothing. No, there's nothing else to say about these people. That's the tent. There's nothing else to say about this. Any questions? No, the parents didn't feel a breeze. The parents didn't hear anything. That's what they told the police. The police have ruled them out for right now because they have been cooperative. They've been cooperative. We let the police search our house. We let the police search our phones. So we're ruling them out, says the police. Now, the theory that she's a kid, so I don't think she would be afraid to be away from her mom. I don't think she'd be afraid to go towards the water. Kids love to explore. They love to explore things. So that hasn't been debunked. JS. Kids go out into the woods all the time. 6, 7, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds go out into the woods and play all the time. Well, they used to back in the day. I can't say kids are afraid. No drag marks from her sleeping bag. Why would there be drag marks? I understand she could be dragging the sleeping bag, but not like police was looking for drag marks. I mean, police can't even find footprints of an abductor. You can't find footprints. I doubt you can find drag marks of a sleeping bag. So that she was definitely afraid of the water. Her parents were teaching her to swim, so I doubt she was afraid of the water. Being away from her mom, again, I doubt she would be afraid to be away from her mom because she's a kid. Kids go explore things. There was no drink. Let me go up. Nothing else. Anything else? Nothing else. All right, this has been Awkward Occurrence, Awkward Entertainment. I'm going to stop rambling, and I will see you in the next video. Nah, look like the parents still suspect number one. Suspect number one in this story, right?